Okay. Good morning, Professor Brad. Thank you that you have found some time to join us today. Could you tell us why we are meeting today?
Yeah, thank you very much for the invitation. Thank you very much for having me in this interview. I am the president of ETRIA, which is the European Association for Structure Innovation. And of course, we'll try to talk a little bit about trees and why trees are so important for people nowadays when we face with so many challenges, with so many conflicts in a very complex world. So I'll be happy to expand a little bit this universe of tools that are able to support people, engineers, managers in doing better jobs.
That's great. That's great. That's what I believe TRIZ is and TRIZ can do. So, Professor, maybe you could tell us a little bit, what does the name TRIZ mean, in fact?
Yeah, TRIZ is an acronym. In fact, it's the acronym in English for the theory of inventing problem solving. Actually, its origin is some 70 years ago in the former USSR. At that time, based on empirical approaches in studying and classifying patterns, scientist, which was named Heinrich Altschuler, had the revelation to see generic patterns and principles in everything that people engineered over the centuries. This discovery has put the basis of, I would say, the science of invention. Since then, many other researchers from other countries have been involved to develop and refine this theory. And we say that today TRIZ encompasses a group of tools that are aligned to well-defined behaviors, laws, and principles of technical systems. And these tools, of course, are continuously improved, refined, and new ones, I would say, are added as researchers discover new perspectives for tackling conflicts, for tackling barriers and challenges in a way that minimizing harmful effects and maximizing useful effects within the system they engineer.
Thank you. I have some more questions, of course, but I think you have at least partially answered them. Because my next question was, what is the main field of interest of TRIZ? But I think you have just said, right? But
maybe we can add something a little bit more. Actually, TRIZ was first used in engineering, usually in solving challenges in hardware systems. But nowadays, it is also applied in software systems, as well as in many areas of management, of marketing, but also in scientific research. In fact, in any field where people confront with conflictual issues or where they need to create mature solutions to a new problem, TRIZ comes with several tools and methodologies for systematic approach of problems and for generation of, I would say, mature ingenious solutions. This is the reason we also call TRIZ the theory of structure innovation. I mean, with TRIZ, we try to define solutions to a problem in a way that is effective, but also it's affordable, which is very important. And from this perspective, it's convertible into an innovation. And sometimes, or I would say in many cases, TRIZ is also one of the most productive and fastest tools that leads engineers to powerful inventions.
That sounds great. Not only the last part you said, but also the thing that you mentioned that it's not only for engineers now, right? It can be used by many specialists. And that's a good thing, because unfortunately, not every of us is an engineer, you know.
Yes, and I would say that most of the challenges are not necessarily in engineering, even if there we have a lot of challenges, but everyday management faces with a lot of challenges, with a lot of complicated issues, they have to solve without compromises. So I would say that we have to transfer this knowledge from engineering to management, and more researchers are doing this, and with great success.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Let me have a look. Okay. Professor, I have to admit that it's hard for me to find borders between like one subject and another, but I think it's just because it's like every of them is like joined, right? So that's why. What are the most typical domains when TRIZ can be useful, and how? You, of course, mentioned engineering, not once and not twice. You mentioned management. Anything else?
Okay. I actually refuse to put a finger on some domains because I use personally in many areas, from robotics to software management, economics, in strategy development, even in political elections, in product design, yes, in new method creations, in fundamental research. So I would say that where people have a problem and want to tackle it in a way that leads to no or low compromises, TRIZ, it's a very powerful tool. Till 30 years ago, the major use of TRIZ was in mechanical engineering, but now we see its presence in a variety of sectors, from software and electronics, material science, in business development, in mechatronic product design. So why is this wide area of applicability? Because I would say that we are living in a world which is driven by speed. And with TRIZ, we can accelerate the process to lead to a mature solution, to the creation of mature solutions. For example, a project that usually would take weeks for defining the right solution could be reduced to days with the help of TRIZ.
Whoa, I'm impressed. I knew more or less what you were going to talk about, but I think I need TRIZ in my life now.
I think this is a very pragmatic perspective of TRIZ, and there are several reasons to speed up this process.
Yeah, obviously, like all of us, we want to speed up everything. So that's great. Okay, Professor, let me have a look again. What are the pros of using TRIZ, like relative to other problem-solving solutions, like, you know, brainstorming or similar?
Yeah, actually, TRIZ is more than a tool for creativity. TRIZ is more than just assisting creative processes, as, for example, brainstorming does. Brainstorming or similar tools like brainstorming encourage people to explore spaces, to search for new perspectives, for new forms of manifestation. Such tools, I would say, that are great for artists, for designers, and even sometimes, but I would say with limitations, to engineers. Whereas TRIZ is about being creative, but in an effective and pragmatic way. I mean, TRIZ is about exploring the wow effect in narrow spaces where we have many constraints. Because TRIZ is telling you where to search for the right solution. And in many cases, it pushes you outside the comfort zone. Brainstorming does not do this. But TRIZ tries to break the psychological inertia and directs you to follow unconventional and effective patterns of investigation. So therefore, it directs you to find the right solution much faster, not spending time as in the traditional paradigms of trial and error.
Thank you. When I think about it, yeah, that's true, that we usually have our favorite like methods of finding the solutions, and TRIZ like pushes us to to follow some rules. I mean, yeah, some strict rules. Thank you. Professor, I have next questions here. How is TRIZ associated or connected with, for example, science, technology, industry, and education?
Okay. From the 4 areas you have mentioned, I will say that TRIZ is connected to all of them. First of all, TRIZ can be applied to assist scientists to develop new technologies, to develop creative and innovation capabilities, and to tackle problems in any industry. On the other side, TRIZ counts a lot on science. This is because it operates with resources, with laws, with phenomena from science. A TRIZ expert looks like a polymath. I mean, a person which must embrace a broad knowledge area from science and engineering. And in this respect, TRIZ also consider reverse approaches to identify, to extract laws of behavior and evolution from various systems. I would say both from those done by people, anthropic systems, and from the natural ones. As in terms of education, because you mentioned about the education, I would say that nowadays TRIZ should be part of the educational programs as the STEM programs, which are already considered in schools.
Okay, I would definitely agree with the last part. As an ex-teacher, I hope it's going to happen, and I hope it's going to happen in Poland as well. Okay, and one more for today. Professor Brad, in what kind of industries is TRIZ most popular, in your opinion?
Which kind of industries? TRIZ is very popular in automotive industry, in aerospace, and in principle in designing any means of transportation, but also in electronics, design of mechanical and mechatronic products, for example, smartphones or TV or robots or gadgets, and many others. I have counted myself industrial applications in over 100 areas, but I'm sure that there are many others that I'm not aware of. Of course, there are countries where it's more prominent applied. This tool is more popular. Countries that are leaders in the field of technology, such as South Korea or China, and more, France, Italy, Germany, the United States, in Israel, very popular, in the United Kingdom, of course, in Russia, but also in Brazil. I've seen in Australia, Japan, and Belgium. They are top countries, but step by step, we report application of TRIZ in companies from consumer goods in the Netherlands, for example, Philips, just to give an example. I would not like to name all the companies, but there are a lot in Poland, in Singapore, Indonesia, in Finland, and several other countries.
Wow, thank you very much. I'm impressed. I'm impressed because I had no idea that there are so many countries using TRIZ already.
Yeah, there are many countries. Nevertheless, it's a challenge to use TRIZ.
Obviously.
It's not a simple tool. I mean, we mentioned about some pros, but there are, I would say, not limitation, but some barriers, because you need to train longer time to know how to properly use the TRIZ toolbox. And also you need to work hard to change the thinking architecture in your brain. And from this perspective, the majority of people feel too much effort to adopt TRIZ as a core mode of thinking in problem solving. But of course, not all of them recognize this. We have to accept that there is no panacea to our problems. Therefore, also TRIZ should be seen in close connection with the type and the complexity of the problem we have to undertake, because in some cases, simpler problems we can handle very well than with other tools. But my experience indicates that TRIZ works well together with other tools. Some related to creativity, some others related to planning, to analysis, to evaluation. In fact, a huge space for TRIZ application is unveiled in relation to its integration with other engineering tools. And this is interesting. Other tools reveal spaces where TRIZ shows a potential for application.
I see. I think it's great that you're being honest and you remember to mention also these little limitations, but I would assume that you would recommend at least trying to learn TRIZ, right? Of course,
nobody can be a master in karate, for example, just after a few lessons of practice. You need some more effort to practice, and this is the case with TRIZ. You need to spend more time to experience, to challenge yourself, to break your psychological inertia, move in other spaces of investigation, and then you will see a progress, because in principle, the limitations are in our mind, our way of thinking and behavior. And TRIZ encourages us to move beyond this. TRIZ, I'm talking as a generic name for this package of tools that are used in structure innovation.
I see. Probably the last little question, what do you think would be the most rewarding part for a person who is just starting to learn and understand TRIZ? How could he or she motivate themselves to keep learning and keep aiming at bigger things?
It's very complicated, because everything is a matter of culture. It's a matter of, TRIZ is very close related with entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship, it's about embedding some qualities like the courage to tackle new paths, abnegation, capacity to work with people from other fields of expertise, to be open to search in other areas of specialty than yours, etc. So this is a kind of attitude. Of course, TRIZ tells us in a generic way where to look for, how to investigate to reduce the time and the effort. But to the end of the day, it's our attitude and desire to make something interesting, to make something that really comes close to ideality, something that is different in the eye of the others, generates an wow effect, introduce as many as possible useful effects in the system. And yeah, this is a cultural aspects. And I would say that as in any other kind of long-term journey, we have to start with the first step. So investigating the first tools, which are, let's say, most popular, less difficult, easier to understand, and then step by step we can discover those that are a little bit complex and help us for deep thinking. Today, in many cases, we see problems in very narrow spaces, whereas they are interconnected with other systems, within super systems, and therefore, when we propose something, in fact, it is fragile because we omit this kind of holistic perspective. With TRIZ, we can train our mind to think holistically, comprehensively, from different angles, from past to future, from top to down, and vice versa, etc.
Okay, that sounds pretty interesting. I think I will try myself today evening to like get familiar with these fast tools. Professor Brad, thank you very much. I hope that what you have said will explain to some extent what TRIZ is and why it is worth getting familiar with. And well, I hope to meet you once again soon.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.